Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Let's Talk Football, NFC South over Week 3.
Whoop,
Week 3.
Midweek blues.
Oh yeah, just for you. No, it's okay. I'm living on a high right now. It doesn't matter. Like it's only up from here. It's only up from here.
Yeah.
So everybody that's tuning in, if you don't know, this is going to be our weekly show. We have many co-hosts, me and Nichole, representing Canada, in the great up north, and other co-hosts, Andrew Faubert and Sean Spencer, who are currently away doing adulting and at their jobs right now. But yeah, those guys. The picture will come for Sean. Don't worry. We'll make sure that he stays a Carolina fan. But yeah, a lot happened this week. Yeah, it was a good week, honestly. For me, I don't know about for you, Nichole, but I had a hell of a week and I loved it. So let's talk.
Yes. Tell me about it.
So, how did your team do this week?
My team?
Yep. Tell me. I
Okay.
want to hear all the deets.
All right. So, yeah, I was watching back from our last week predictions, and Sean may have predicted the future this time.
Okay.
But yeah, we lost to the Carolina Panthers, 22-14. We weren't looking so hot whatsoever.
Yeah, I don't know what was going on with that game. I was tuning into that a little bit to kind of see if you guys were gonna pull it out, but there is something to be said about that Carolina defense. I'm not gonna lie.
Yes, absolutely. I mean, we were going 13-0, entering the fourth, and then I was waiting for Winston get some confidence with his long balls because obviously they've been going to other players lately. But he did in the fourth. He did gain some traction. He completed 7 of 7 passes, and then Ingram he ran in for a touchdown, which was his 75th career touchdown.
Ooh.
So. Yeah, but yeah, they had some good things, and then all of a sudden they got a 65-yard run and it was caught by Chenault. I'm sorry if I'm saying that wrong.
No, you got it right. Nailed it.
I am a work in progress here with the journey and the names of other players in the scope. So, but yeah, they gave away the ball again the next possession, and then there was that one-handed catch made by Callaway, which gave us some steam a little bit. And I was like, is this going to be another one of those comebacks in the fourth quarter? But it wasn't. Unfortunately, they went for the kick and they got it back and retrieved it. There was also some more injuries to report.
Yeah, quite a bit actually. You're
sorry
to say it, but your O-line.
Also to Landry and Michael Thomas, my guy, and Smith were all forced out of the game. So that with a lot, it's a lot more than just defense that we need. There's a lot of things to be discussed, which is what we're doing right now. So we're going to get into it a little bit more, but yeah, that's how it went down. So.
Yeah, it was something for a week in the NFC. So I guess speaking with my Falcons, they pulled away with their first W. I love it. I knew they were going to win it, even though we were against Vegas odds right now. They had Seahawks winning it, I think by I believe 3.5 is what the spread was. But Atlanta's been a good offensive team. As much as they've been lacking on the defensive part, they've been very much in every single game. So yeah, the score was 27-23. And it was huge, right? The offense needed to fire on all cylinders, and that's exactly what they did. Cordarrelle Patterson definitely balled out. I love him. I love that we signed him, and he's definitely filling a hole in that part. So I'm definitely really happy about that. The one thing that I will take away, as much as I'm happy that we won, and it's a week 3 win, it's huge, but we definitely need to work on defense. We're not going to win games if we can't stop the plays. So unfortunately, especially in an NFC South right now where, pretty much we are the worst defensive team, hands down. Carolina's got it down. The Saints have always had it down, and the Bucs are absolutely ferocious on defense. So if we want to keep moving forward, it's going to have to be, defense, and our young defense is going to have to step in, led by Grady Jarrett, who is doing well. He's having a phenomenal season so far, which is good. That's why we paid him. But unfortunately, it just can't be a one-man show. So I'm hoping that DMP is definitely, throws it into the defense a little bit and kind of amps them up. And we come back against a very, very strong Cleveland team next week that, they're going to be coming at us at all angles. So, yeah, we'll touch more into that for sure. But, there's as much as there was losses and there was wins, right? There were some people that definitely stood out, Nichole. So,
Yeah.
what do you think? Who are your stars?
Mine is Mr. Olave.
Olave. Oh my.
Yes, absolutely. He is a star, um, macro player. His speed is unmatched by anyone.
He he is unseen amongst men. He is the Flash. The Flash.
Yes, exactly. So it was his first 100-yard game of his career. We're watching him closely,
Nice.
training him well in the ways that he's going to be a good, solid player on our team. But yeah, he had 9 catches, 147 yards, including the 49-yard reception. So that was amazing. I feel like Winston and him are finally, I could just see a glimpse of them getting their timing caught on, where those long range missiles hit that target, and that's when it comes out of space, is those long range ones where
Yeah.
if you're not on time for like a millisecond and you go out of line, then it's going to be a lot harder to hit the target. So I see improvement there. I'm quite happy about the dynamic that they're creating. It seems like they're going on a good vibe. I just want to keep it that way, but also too, it's a little bit more on Olave with the catches more so than
But
Winston, because I don't know.
can you really blame him though at the same time? I guess just to counteract that, I'm not trying to take away from your stars, but is Winston the real answer, I guess, going forward in New Orleans, right? Especially with a big, big, big quarterback pool that's coming up in this draft. It's definitely something to consider. And,
Mm.
regardless of the injuries going on right now on the Saints, right? Um, you can't really expect Chris Olave to do too much. Like, sure, like, he was drafted early in the first round, right? And
Hmm.
he is definitely filling up a gap for the New Orleans Saints, but let's also not forget that, it's his first year, right?
Yeah, yeah.
So how much onus do you put on him, right? Like, I think he did phenomenal in that game, but at the same time, like, it's a tough, tough, tough shoe to fit.
You know what? I like it though how he's stepping up. He's stepping up for us when we need it. And imagine, I mean, if Winston was on his game more and was in complete health and stuff, just imagine what more we could do
Yeah.
with that as like one of our pistons to fire off into. Um, so I think he's stepping up. I mean, not much to say for the game that we were playing at for stars, but I'm seeing him, and if Nicole's looking at you, you better know there's some talent in there. So yeah,
She's got, even though she's a Saints fan, she's got those cat eyes. Hey, like that.
no Panthers.
Yeah, yeah. You know what? In all honesty, like regardless of the divisional rivalry, I actually really like all of the NFC South. To be honest,
Mhm.
minus how some fan bases are against other ones, but I got really nothing against most teams in the NFC South. So if any of our teams go to a Super Bowl, minus Tom Brady and the Bucks, as much as he deserved it, um, I'm happy. I love seeing our division do well and go far. But yeah, no, it's something else.
I think
I
we're
know they're not
creating
on
also
here.
too. There's a lot of different dynamics also too with our
Yeah,
with what I'm learning now that I've seen. It's ironic that I've now got to play everyone in our division,
yeah,
to kind of get a feel and a little bit of taste of like what I can kind of see the division moving forward. And I do see a lot of great talent, obviously with the defense. But I also think that there's a lot of competition. And when we play each other, what I've seen is I think there is a little bit more of a rivalry, and it adds to the game comparatively to a little bit. I don't know. This is me with the 3 weeks that I've known of looking at other teams. I'll see a team, I guess, when they versus us. Minnesota, we're coming up next, but
yeah.
I don't know. It's spicy, this league. I like it.
Yeah, no, it's something else for sure. And it's pretty wide open too. I gotta say, as much as the Bucks are the favorite, you never know what's gonna happen. Like, to be quite honest with you, I wouldn't necessarily bet against the Bucks, but I wouldn't be shocked if a team pulls out and they just have a breakout, like especially with how injured some of the teams are in our division, right? Like it's only going to add to the complications too. And sure, you can try and have a good secondary as much as possible for your offense and your defense, right? But at the same time, your starting line does matter. And if they're not healthy, it could definitely drastically change the tides of how the division will go, right? So yeah, it's something to be said. But I guess before we continue, just want to give a shout out to one of our fellow Let's Talk Football friends. Ladies and gentlemen, that is Squid Rip Cards. He is live on TikTok many times during the week. I'm sorry, Sid, I still don't know your time, but he's definitely there to fulfill your needs for your team cards and to build up a collection. So definitely give him a follow, a share, a like, and a shout out. So I guess going on, Nichole, one of my favorite segments, Be Humble. Be humble. Be humble.
But I was gonna say, like, did we talk about your star? You talked
Oh,
about
I didn't. You're right.
and the Dudds.
That's right. Oh my God, I'm getting so ahead of myself. Look at me.
I was like, you want to be humble real bad.
I got a good one. And you'll like it.
Okay.
Yeah. So no, my star definitely is Cordarrelle Patterson. Ever since especially last year, he definitely stepped into the team and he definitely filled a big hole. It's no surprise that Atlanta really lacks running backs when considering the last really good running back we had was Devontae Freeman, who I was personally sad to see go because I think he really balled out, especially during that Super Bowl in 2015. But it's crazy that what kind of season he's already having, considering that Cordarrelle Patterson is ranked number 3 right now in rushing. So it's something to be said that he ran 141 yards, got 1 touchdown. And I hope he continues. The way it's kind of seeing right now is it's just going to trend in the positive direction regardless. I think that at the very least, we'll get another at least season to 2 seasons of him. And hopefully we can get some support in that running game, which it looks like Tyler Algier is doing that, but he's still young, and I don't expect too much from him as of right now, regardless. But he's a stud, and he's awesome. And I know there's been a comparison that they think that Deebo Samuel is like a better version of Cordarrelle Patterson, but I think the complete opposite, especially with Cordarrelle Patterson's age. He's phenomenal, and he's definitely an asset to our team that is still rebuilding during these phases. So that's
What
my
is
star.
the primal age of?
I don't know. You know what? I think it really depends, and I think like beforehand it would be something like around maybe like 35 personally, but it's really really tough to say. So because you look at Tom Brady
Depending
and
on
Tom
injuries
Brady,
and stuff.
yeah, like Tom Brady, he definitely went and he broke the norm, right? You have Tom Brady who's playing, I believe, at what, 41, I think. Correct me if I'm wrong. But he's an older guy and he's still easily a top tier quarterback. But then you look at, what happened with what's his face in Indy. Wasn't Love, wasn't Luck. Andrew Luck, that's his name. Andrew Luck. He only played, I think, for like a season, and then he was done because he didn't want to damage up his body, right? So it's really tough to say. But the way it's kind of trending is if you stay healthy, you take care of yourself. Who's to say you can't play until your 40s, personally? So
True.
I don't think there's a real answer for that, Nichole.
True. Okay, I'm a learner.
That's just me. I don't know. People can go in the comments, can go and definitely change my opinion on that. And for everybody that is commenting, make sure that you do allow StreamYard to see your name, or else we're just going to see random Facebook users. So if you want to see your comment and your name on the show, then absolutely do that, please. So what about your duds, Nichole?
My duds was Winston. I'm sorry. 25 for 41 with 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions.
Yeah.
I do think though that he needs to get his confidence back. I know it's in there. I do want to be a fan. I am a fan of the Saints. So like I want to see those come back and that fierceness that we have in overcoming some of the things that we have to do with challenges, with back injuries. But I know that he's not playing at his best. That's why I just I don't know. I have a soft spot for like if you're injured, I don't see you, even if they do say, you're not feeling 100%, you know? So that I feel like sometimes does factor in to missing practices, like even missing practice. That's a huge thing. Now what I've learned is that, yeah, I guess these guys practice on Wednesdays and Thursdays to prep for the game. And how important it is to get that feel with your team for, going to those practices and like if you're injured or you're in and out and stuff like that, I feel like you're missing out on half of the team participation.
Yeah. Yeah. I know we're talking about the NFC South, but just to kind of go in correlation to what you're saying too, what happened with Tua in Miami. Did you watch that game or did you see that play when he got up?
No.
So
Was
definitely go
this the
check it out.
butt?
Huh?
Was this the football
No,
in the
no,
butt?
no, no, no.
Okay.
So to give you the short, and by all means, everybody go check it out on YouTube. I'm sure it's everywhere. But Tua got absolutely leveled, and he stood up. And as he stood up, he fell right back down. But he was deemed that he was fine to go back into the game because they have that concussion protocol and everything where they go and evaluate the people and so on and so forth. But um, it definitely makes you question if it needs to be reevaluated. Just seeing how much of a struggle he had going back up. So it is something to be said, right? Because the last thing you want to do is, as much as we want our team to win, we are people first, right? And you don't want to see anybody get injured. You want people to have long and successful careers because they did dedicate their lives to doing this, right? So
Hmm.
I think it's really important that we take the time to just ask ourselves, are they okay? And really take a step back and rely on the team. Just you're not just a one man person. Sure, Tua, you're having a great season. Sure, Winston, you're not having too bad of a start right now, but
Hmm.
you need to stay healthy. You need to make sure you're okay, and don't be selfish. Let the team take care of everything else while you take care of yourself. So I think that's really important.
Yeah. I mean, I was surprised that they were even going to start him with Carolina. I was thinking, you know, Andy Dalton would come in and I would, give him a breather and
Was
stuff.
a good
But
quarterback. Like Andy Dalton
yeah,
has played and started many games, so I don't see the issue with that. Like he easily could have filled that role.
yeah. So he is in London. Winston is in London. So he's there. But again, he hasn't been really participating in the practice. Like I said, also too, practice is so important. And if you're like injured or you're like trying to save it for the game, but you're missing out on practice, it's a little hard. But yeah, he's there too. So, but there is still. We'll get into it later for our predictions.
Did he sit out practice?
I have it down here that he was there in London, but that Andy Dalton ended up going and being on the primary for practice
Okay.
on one of the two practices. But that he is there and that they are still kind of trying. It's going to come down to the wire, but I really do think that I think they're going to be running Andy Dalton.
Yeah, that's fair. You know what? I definitely won't talk too much on that because we'll save that for the last segment too. But
Yeah.
yeah, definitely. I don't see an issue with that. I know for Cordarrelle Patterson, as much as he balled out, they rested him, not necessarily because he's injured, but you know, he's a veteran considered on the team, especially with a new team on the Falcons. So they don't want to overwork him, and that's a smart thing to do. And that's kind of what I was going to hope they were going to do for Winston. But as long as he's healing and he's recovering, that's good. I want to see him do well as much as possible. But yeah, my dud is a tough one. And I'll explain a little bit why. So the Atlanta defense as a whole, I consider it as a dud. Um,
Oh.
Now, the reason why I'm considering this is tough is it is a combination of Atlanta allowing Seattle to score 23 points, but also Geno Smith balled out. He had a really good game, and that's the thing is, especially me having him in fantasy as like my super flex, which is it was good this week finally. So I was pretty happy about that, but Yeah, we need to
Mm-hmm.
get better in that sense. Like we're not going to keep. We can try as much as possible to keep in these games offensively, but that's the one thing that the Bucks again are doing right is that defense is really strong. Um, do what you have to do. Don't get the penalties, which we did a lot better in this game, not getting
Mm-hmm.
penalties. So we weren't giving up that much yards in that. And when it did really come down to it, and we did have sacks, I believe it was, oh my gosh, I know Grady Jarrett got a sack because he's had now, I think, like something like a career high sacks against the Seattle Seahawks.
Hmm.
And I think it was Rashawn Evans also. He also got a sack too. So, um, yeah, it's getting better, and I see the defense starting to align. But again, we we need to come together as a team. There is a lot of good that's going on right now with Atlanta, but yeah, we really, really, really need to focus on not allowing those first downs. So that would be mine. That's kind of a tough one.
Once your defense starts getting into it, it could almost turn into a scary situation where then they're becoming an offensive defense with
Yeah.
being people, getting scared of the fumble, and then that's when it's
Yeah, and it's true. Like the one thing that I say the Buccaneers do very well, and I'm sure you can attest to this, is just the fact that they're able to force fumbles, right? Like they have a really
yeah.
good defensive line for that. And, especially in those critical moments, it really matters, right? Like, sure, they lost this week to the Packers, right? In a close game. But at the same time, like their defense kept them in the game. And there's nothing to be said that the Bucks did anything necessarily wrong this week, considering they really have a depleted line. Um, but the Green Bay Packers are the real deal, and they really are. They have Aaron Rodgers; he's good, and there's they've had a good defense for a while. And really, who does Aaron Rodgers have to throw to? In all fairness,
The ground. No, I'm kidding.
what's all right? So yeah,
Yeah.
it's I don't know. Like, what do you think?
With their team, with
Yeah, what's your view on the Bucks? I guess we don't have our
uh
fellow Ginger here, so
uh Julio's still out.
it's
That's but I also know I was actually concerned for their team in a different regards of understanding of with the hurricane coming down and stuff like that,
yeah.
and
Pray for
realizing
Florida.
yeah, and how they even I know that they went to practice in Miami to avoid it and stuff, but to continue on, you know, and showing brave face. And then also too, I saw abundance of pour out and support from the team to their community, which I thought was really great.
That's huge.
Um, so that is the offside, off off the field news that I know about Tampa Bay.
They had
So
a contingency plan too, I'm pretty sure, didn't they? I don't
yeah,
remember
they were going to
exactly.
go to Minnesota
Yeah.
if in case because they're going to be playing us in London. So
Okay. No, that makes sense. That makes sense.
yeah,
Yeah, no, it's crazy times with because what that was Hurricane Ian, I think that was hitting Florida, and then at the same time, Hurricane Fiona is hitting the I guess what is that considered the southeast of Canada too, right? I believe so.
yeah,
So
yeah.
yeah, it's tough times. If you got any family in Florida or any family in I guess Eastern Canada, definitely reach out. They probably need it right now. There's from what I've seen of the videos and the pictures and everything, it's pretty critical. And some families are definitely going to go through some serious debt. So I always say give back where you can, especially when family is really what matters. So
For sure.
something to point
100.
out there. But
Yes.
I guess like I was saying earlier, and now we're on cue. um, be humble, be humble,
Yes.
be
Be
humble.
humble. Do not fumble.
Yeah, do not fumble. Be
You
humble.
gotta you got some comments.
Yeah, I see. Right,
Yeah.
Jesus. I know I got a
This is good.
I know some Falcons love some
Taylor's joining
Panthers.
in.
I know, right? Ooh, stop! You can make me blush.
So, be humble.
Yeah.
Uh who are you being humble to?
Who am I going to be humble to? You know me go first. Ooh.
Oh, I mean,
What?
you can ask me, I guess, but I need to get this up.
Okay, well, for me, you already touched base on it, but Chris Olave is my be humble. He actually was somebody that I was looking towards to hopefully getting in Atlanta because I think he really fits well with what he has to offer. He's very versatile. He's very, very quick to the ball. He's fast, right?
Mm-hmm.
And that would almost make up for the gap that we had in the running back. But he had his first 100-yard game. I think that's pretty insane. He had 9 catches and he I guess received for 147 yards. You know, him being drafted in 2022, and you touched on it earlier too, with the injuries going on to the offensive line, with Alvin Kamara still struggling with an injury, now Michael Thomas, and now as well Jarvis Landry. That's tough. So he has very, very big shoes to fill. And he really balled out in a game where it was a division game too, right? So those are the games that really, really matter. So
I could
that's
see
my
him
star.
I can see him getting comfortable with
Easy.
our team.
Easy.
I could see him, snuggling in there for a little bit of his career and really getting a feel for the game. I don't know if you see it. I don't know if you know him, but one of my favorite players getting into the Saints was Sproles.
I don't
And
actually. I'm gonna be honest.
he was a wide receiver, super fast, good catcher, great guy that would zone in for targets. I mean, it was with Drew Brees though too, so those are nice buttery passes.
Wait,
But
how did Drew Brees end his career? Can you remind me? I'm so sorry. I seem to forget.
he's
Oh,
still on the
oh.
team is like his passion. He's like Santa Claus. He never goes away.
Yeah, he's not there physically, but he's there when it matters. He is there mentally in all aspects.
Winston.
Oh, oh God, that's funny. Okay, so what's yours?
Um, my humble is McCaffrey.
Oh, okay.
Ironically, I just got a news alert that he's not doing so well.
Nope. Once
He was
again, he
not
is
in health.
injured.
No, yeah, he was not playing at practice with the quad. But we're talking about last week.
Yep.
So last week he was there for them. Uh, he he was on all going all crazy. He was really good. I do have that he has over 100 rushing yards in the consecutive games that he has played.
Yep.
And from what I'm hearing and starting to learn about him
Yep.
as a guy is that he's great and he's amazing when he's healthy.
Yeah.
And I guess this is
Absolutely.
maybe an underlying theme of right now about health and injuries. Um, is when he's going, he's great, and he's been going really good, even against us. And I do have to give him props for the amount that he held Baker. I mean, I'm pretty sure it was one that Baker. It was like 2-yard throw to McCaffrey, and McCaffrey makes it work, and he runs it down. So
Yeah.
I have to give it up for McCaffrey. But going forward, I guess he will not be there. He's like one of those partying friends that just you never know if he's going to show, but if he shows, he's going to have a good time.
I think I guess with McCaffrey, no, that's a really good shout out, I think, for sure, for a be humble. Speaking from somebody who's had him as a number one running back for 2 years, I had him for my dynasty league, my first one to a shout out to North Sports Dynasty for basically getting me into football. Shout out to them. Just yeah, I think he's got to go. Unfortunately, I think they're working him too much a little bit. Just seeing him being, a top running back, and yeah, you're right. He
Mm-hmm.
puts up a ton of yards, right? Like the
Mm-hmm.
guy's been a top 3 running back now for I think at least 5 years, something like that, right? So
Oh, and he's only 26. I
I
forgot to
know,
mention that.
I know he's got a lot of his career ahead of him. So here's the thing: is if you go and draft him to another team, like let's just say for the ballpark, I don't see him ever going to Atlanta, but let's just speak the weird happens. Okay. He goes
Okay.
to Atlanta. Okay. Atlanta right now, they are running a lot with Cordell Patterson, but we're looking to more transition to a pass heavy team. It kind of seems like it. That's what we want to be at the very least. Considering that we're bringing in younger quarterbacks, we'll either run forward with Desmond Ritter or we'll go for a new quarterback in the next draft. Who knows? But, you bring in somebody that takes the attention a little bit off Christian McCaffrey, a little bit, not as much as he would have in North Carolina. And, maybe he doesn't get injured then. You know what I mean? So I think that he needs to go and transition to another team. There's a lot of trade value, especially for North Carolina, where they can get a lot of value for him. But the thing is if you wait too long, and as of right now, him being injured again, it definitely puts a little bit of a damper on what his trade value would be. So, you really got to hope that other teams see the value and they see him as a really good fit, which he would fit a lot of teams. And realistically, I feel like you probably could get a number 1 draft pick for him, maybe number 2, like, you know what I mean? But I actually feel for the guy. He's awesome and he just can't catch a break. Him and Dalvin Cook are actually very much in the same situation right now. So, Saquon Barkley, I think too, also another top running back on the Giants. If I remember correctly, he's been kind of prone with injuries too, but so far, knock on wood, he's having a good season. He's number 2 overall. So I don't know. I guess we're gonna have to see what happens, but here's hoping that he continues to recover. And yeah, it's just let's just
Be
hope.
humble.
Be humble. Be humble. We really need a transition for that. Like we really do. So, did you hear about the halftime show?
I did a little bit, and
Did
I was
you?
just like, okay. The halftime shows are always a specter, and unfortunately, a little bit here in Canada, we don't get all the juicy commercials as
I
much
know.
as what they get premiered on down there. So,
I YouTube him
uh,
after though. I always
yes,
want to YouTube after
absolutely.
because I want to see if anything good, especially like movies or something like that. Like they're really good with like the Disney commercials. Like if anything good is coming to Disney Plus or like Marvel movie trailers and stuff like that. Big blockbuster hits, like those are always like the real good ones that I always want to see, right? But
There's the Pepsi, the Budweiser, the Coca-Cola. I know those are always a guarantee almost every year,
well, funny, good transition. Speaking of Coca-Cola, recently, and I wish my sister was here because she'd definitely be able to give me more of the deets, considering she's a huge Taylor Swift fan. But to kind of give a little bit of insight of what happened, Taylor Swift's contract ended with Coca-Cola very, very recently.
Hmm.
And she was originally like offered, I think, 1, 2, maybe 3 times to go and play the Super Bowl. She declined it every single time. And to me, I just kind of raised the flag like, WTF, why would you decline a show like that, considering, maybe like even the audience you have in that stadium, which you're guaranteed a full stadium sellout at the
Yeah.
Super Bowl, but also the amount of people that are tuning in around the world and are going to be watching, right? So the reason for it, which I don't know if you read into this, kind of doesn't make too much sense to me, but she is currently re-recording her first 6 albums that she released.
Oh.
And that's why she's not playing. So
Oh.
the part that gets me is you're not necessarily releasing new music. Like I think she is having a new album coming out, but she didn't go on record to say that that was the reason why she wasn't playing the Super Bowl. So, you
Legally
know, people have already
legality.
heard your first 6 albums.
Mhm.
Why wouldn't you just go and broadcast what you have at the Super Bowl? I think that would be an amazing platform to do that, especially if you're just doing a re-release in 2022, 2023.
Guess so. But maybe I don't know if there's like strings behind it with, record labels in owning rights or saying something behind the sheets of maybe that's the reason why. I don't know if she's re-releasing music because she has to under her own name or if that she bought songs. It gets crazy in the music
Oh, that's a good point.
industry.
That's a
Yeah,
good
that's
point.
I mean, who was it? Kesha, what had one of those things where she had to re-release, and there was like fighting over what was owned by her and her music and stuff like that, and what the record label. And then, depending on if the record label wants to be like, no, 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 we got to keep it, until this moment. I don't know, maybe right time, right, wrong place. But with Rihanna,
Yeah.
I was thinking she's just gonna come out in this beautiful black and gold gown and announcing that she's part of the New Orleans Saints fandom.
That's never gonna happen.
I
I
have
know
it written down
you're
here.
dreaming very big right now, and I just want our fans to know that your fantasy is not necessarily reality.
You mark my words. uh, but no, I was hoping though, like I don't know if there's gonna be. Obviously, it's gonna be Rihanna, but is there gonna be another special guess, like
Oh,
we saw
probably.
last year's Super Bowl halftime was
Oh,
nuts.
100%.
I don't know
There's
if it
going to be
could beat
something.
that, honestly.
But maybe they'll keep it more hush hush. Like they did pretty good last year with 50 Cent. So I do got to say that, they're probably going to keep something on the wraps. There's going to be some guest appearance. Who did she do Umbrella with? Who's in that song? It's not just her. Isn't it somebody else? Somebody featured in it?
Oh,
It's not
I'm
Chris Brown, is it?
no, I'm pretty sure that I can't recall.
I'm gonna Google it right now. I don't even care. Oh no, it's just her. Oh, featuring artist Jay-Z. There you go.
Oh,
So you know what?
yeah,
Like
that's when
who's
she was under Jay-Z's wing.
yeah, yeah,
Jay-Z's wing.
yeah. So yeah, let's see. I do.
Beyonce
Oh my god,
and
maybe.
Jay-Z, all of
Wait,
them
wasn't she part of
together?
a group before she went solo? Was
No,
that
no,
her?
no. That's. Are you talking to Destiny's Child?
Yeah, that's just Beyonce, right?
Yes, yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
okay. I got all excited
Uh,
for no reason.
but that would be good. I was hoping maybe even Nicki Minaj might join, or they
That's a good
might get some
possibility.
like younger rappers like Young Gravy, or I don't know who else. That's the only
Yeah,
young person I know. But
I think the big thing too, I think you're right. I think just maybe watch out for, where or what song she's going to release in the next little bit for
yeah,
those featuring artists and stuff like that. And they can use that as a transition point. I think that's a very, very likely scenario. Um, Also, I'm not sure if they're going to do it at this Super Bowl, but they do like mixing genres. So I would be prepared to see other genres minus pop. You know what I mean? So maybe they'll throw on like a alternative rock artist to play with Rihanna if she releases a song and stuff like that. I wouldn't be shocked 'cause they like to appeal to a lot of different generations and different styles. So
for sure.
I think that's a big one. But I
John
guess before we
Elton.
can, sorry.
I was just thinking of John Elton and Rihanna.
Oh my god, that'd be such a con. Can you imagine? John Elton is just like he's just or no, Elton John.
Yeah,
Elton
yeah,
John's
yeah.
just on the piano or whatever as Rihanna's playing. It's just an acoustic of Umbrella. Oh man, I would die.
Yeah.
Oh man. But yeah, so ladies and gentlemen, we actually have a lot of shows with Let's Talk Football. So let's check them out. Such a catchy song every time. It doesn't matter of how
So
many
many
weeks
great
I see it.
pieces.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, I
it's true.
know. That is a sick beat.
But yeah, it's really amazing. Definitely feel free anybody to tune into these shows. We're very much a family here. And as much as this is a football show, if you ever need to reach out and you're going through anything in life that's very tough, or you feel like you need support and you're not necessarily sure on who you can reach out to, everybody in this community is so warm and welcoming. So, absolutely any time of the day, if we don't get back to you right away, we'll get back to you as soon as possible. And, we can be that shoulder as much as humanly possible. So I just never want anybody to feel alone, and especially in a world where there's a lot going on. It's definitely important to stay together and just be there for one another.
Man, as a new person to the group, I'm learning so much from all of these shows. So much, and they're all really great people. I really thoroughly enjoy and entertained by all the shows while watching. So definitely check them out.
Yeah, you're absolutely killing it. You just got that, host vibe.
don't know.
But let's go to your favorite segment, Nichole.
Ah, yes.
Discoveries.
Ah, yes. The more you know.
The more you know. Rainbow fade out.
So, I was a sudden, I don't know. I was following. I'm like, great, week 3, okay, going into week 4, and I found out that we're playing in London,
Okay.
and not London, Ontario,
No,
London,
no.
England.
For all you Americans, London, Ontario is in Canada.
Yes. Don't get, yeah, don't London, England. So I was just like, what? I have to wake up at 7:30 in the morning to watch this. I was like, this is unheard of. And then
Is that
I
this
found out,
Sunday?
yeah, yeah. So yeah, interesting. I was just like, is this a thing? Does this always happen, or is it because the queen died? Like, I
No.
had no idea.
Praise the Queen.
I don't
No.
know.
You know,
She could be a Saints fan. I don't know.
okay, stop.
Okay, sorry. Here's me hoping, but I found out that there's this NFL International Series
Yeah,
that happens, and it actually goes back. I found some research on it, and it's
nice.
quite interesting. That it stretches back almost 100 years ago. And on November 8th, 1926, there was this AFL New York Yankees, and they beat the LA Wildcats 28-0 in Canada.
Okay.
So
I
full
didn't know that.
circle, bringing it back. Yeah. So the NFL founded its international series in 2007 with the Giants and Dolphins in the Wembley Stadium. So
Oh, wow.
yeah, so far there's been 40 regular season games that have played outside the U.S. in NFL history,
Okay.
starting with the 2022 NFL season. It will hold at least 4 international games each season, and the league guarantees that every franchise will host one of those matchups every 8 years, taking away a home game. They can also volunteer if they wish to host international games. So also too to note, because we are the NFC South takeover and we are humble to our other teams in the division, uh,
Absolutely.
I'm making note that there will be also too its first trip to Munich in Germany in November 13th with Tampa Bay and the Seattle Seahawks for their first regular season NFL game played in Germany.
Yep. That's a good one. And yeah, there's a lot to be said about that. I think the main thing too is I think this is the hope. By any means, I am no business owner of the NFL, but I think eventually they want to expand more internationally, right? Like I think that's the
Hmm.
big thing. I do know that in London, England, like they're surprisingly a very, very big football fan base. So I think that's one of the main reasons why they keep coming back there too. And maybe eventually, like we're talking about our favorite NFL teams, but you never know. Maybe we get a Canadian team eventually in the NFL. I know that's been the hope. I
Hmm.
know there was talk eventually at one point of the Buffalo Bills actually rebranding as a Toronto team.
Yeah,
That's ever since been squashed though, but it'd be really cool to see if something were to come out from Canada that we could represent. That would be the
what would
hope.
be your team if you could, out of everyone, if it?
Okay, so again, I'm just giving my own biased opinion. I'm not a fan of the Toronto CFL fan base. I will go on record and say that. Um, I'm not going to go and sit here and bash team fan bases by any means, but I feel like the city of Toronto gives other sports a little bit more attention than what they give the Toronto Argonauts. So
Mm,
to me, it would be hard to follow suit with that, considering that what you've already seen for what we currently have here in Canada.
yeah.
Sure, it is an NFL team. It is on a different scale by all means. So that definitely could grab some attention. And you probably would get a lot of Canadian viewership too. But personally, I'm biased. I'm from Edmonton. So I would obviously want an Edmonton team. But at the same time, I'm not necessarily opposed from Vancouver. So if you're asking me where in Canada I'd want to see a team, I would probably say then the best solution would probably be then Vancouver.
True.
What
Yeah.
about you?
I feel some East Coast love. I'm gonna give it to Sydney, Nova Scotia. Just far out there.
Wow. Yeah, you think so? But like
They need something other than hockey.
they could have had a CFL team. Like they were
I know,
supposed
I
to be the
know, I
last
know.
team.
That's why I'm doing the Hail Mary.
Like, oh my gosh. And didn't even have like logos too. I can't even remember what they were. They were the Atlantic Schooners or Schooners or something like that. They actually had logos made and everything, and it was just funding. So yeah, I don't know. But my discovery.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not sure if Nick Rosario is watching, but shout out to the Chicago Bears. The Chicago Bears have never had a 4,000-yard passer. So I thought that was a pretty interesting stat. Both Eric Kramer and Jay Cutler were just 200 yards shy of hitting that 400-yard passing mark.
Oh, wow.
So I think that's pretty impressive when considering that's not necessarily uncommon, especially in the NFL today, if they hit like a 4,000-yard. I know Matt Ryan has had some pretty good seasons like that. So, yeah, I found that very shocking, considering too that the Chicago Bears are one of the oldest, if not the oldest, NFL franchise. So, to me, that was the more you know, the
I
more
like that.
you know,
I'm
right?
learning
So,
more about this Chicago Bears
yeah, yeah.
franchise.
Yeah, they're definitely very much into a rebuild too. They got their franchise QB with Justin Fields. Khalil Herbert now is balling out, so that's pretty good. They still have Montgomery too, who's still a stud, but you still need to fill in the gaps. You still need to fill in the defensive line, considering that they lost Khalil Mack. And then you also need to fill in the fact that you need still some more running back help and some offensive line help and so on and so forth. But they're making strides in the right direction. So that's good. So that brings us, Nichole, to our last segment, the week 4 projections and predictions, which I'm sure we have a lot to talk about this.
Yes.
So I'll let you start it off. Ladies first.
All right. Well, we are heading, folks. We are heading to London, UK here, and it's going to be a different time that you guys are going to have to get your popcorn ready early in the morning. Make sure you have your breakfast and goodies set because we are going to be going against the Minnesota Vikings. That is right. You heard it here first. We are going against the Minnesota Vikings, and I have to say that I'm predicting a really, really great, splendid day for the Saints, and I think that it will be a 27-18 for us, obviously. I'm going off of my facts and basis is because we touched down in London early on this week, and we were having practices Monday.
What time does the plane land, Nichole?
At Mountain Standard Time or EST time?
You know what? You're the reporter. I don't know what country that you're reporting from and what news station you're on, so you can give me whatever time frame you want, okay?
But they did touch down and they were able to play and and remember I said practice, practice, practice. Well, They got to practice on that land. Whereas right now, they are going to be touching down on Friday. So my thing is with the time difference, they might be a little bit jet lagged and might have not had as much time to practice on the soil over there. So I do want to talk about third down conversions. This is where it's going to come down and where it matters for our win and our keys to success. I have to say that, looking and going through at Tom Brady, I was scared with his third down conversions because I know he could do damage. And I started to look up what that meant and that where are we in the league right now? So far we are ranked the 24th. We've completed 1/3 of third down, trying to get the completions.
Yeah,
So I think, I think we need to work on that. And Minnesota, they're ranked the 26th, so they have some issues too as well. I foresee going against them. You guys are doing actually pretty good because I looked up the NFC South because I care about it all NFC South.
Yeah, we include all of the NFC South.
Yeah. Tampa Bay is actually at the 28th spot, and Carolina is 31st. So didn't say much for them beating us, but you guys are ranked 12th. So congrats to you.
Thank you.
But yeah, it's going to come down to Winston and Dalton.
Okay.
I really do want to see Dalton start. I think he's fresh. He's actually, like I said, he was practicing there on the first dairy, and I want him to start. I think he's going to be good. From what I hear, Dalton came from the Bengals, from Kate's team, as well as the Cowboys with Janae, and the Chicago Bears. So
Yeah.
I think he can do us some good, and it'd be really great to see that spark fly. And that's it. That's all I got. Oh, and we picked up Kirkwood because all of our wide receivers are almost out to help them out. Kirkwood he's an old player that's coming back to us. So yeah, that's all I got.
Ladies and gentlemen, you heard it here first on LTF NFCS on station 23, and our broadcaster Nichole has given her predictions. So stay tuned for more to come.
Yeah.
More to come.
More to come.
No, I like that. I think it's going to be a really tough game for you guys. Personally, seeing how Justin Jefferson, especially on the Minnesota Vikings, was stopped last week, he's going to be looking to rebound. That's for sure. And yeah, you better watch out for that. That's the one thing, is the fact that the guy went and he got 2 touchdowns in his first game of the season. He's definitely going to look to try and recreate that. So especially with, New Orleans kind of hurting in a couple areas, right? Especially offensively. Be prepared for the Minnesota Vikings to come at you pretty hard. But what was your prediction? Sorry?
I'm pretty sure it was 28-18 or 20.
28-18.
No, 27. 27.
Okay.
27-18 or 20.
For the New Orleans.
Do I have to give it an absolute answer? I guess no. 27-18.
27-18. Okay. So I think it's going to be a little bit closer, but unfortunately, I'm going to be a little bit opposed to you. I do think that the Minnesota Vikings are going to win the game. And I'm thinking more so it is going to be about, it will be 24 to, I think it's going to be 24-17 for the Vikings. That's what I'm going to go with.
Okay. All right.
I think it'll be close. The only thing I hope is that no one else gets injured on the New Orleans Saints. That's all I hope. Our division's starting to be a little bit injury prone, so I'm definitely hoping for a little bit more of that. So, yeah, I'm really excited for the Cleveland Browns and Atlanta game. Checking the stats, it's really weird to even look at it because Cleveland and as well Atlanta, they're both very, very close in a lot of areas. It's pretty insane. So I think the one thing that people don't really understand too, and I think Cleveland Browns, and giving them a shout out that they're really flying under the radar, is they're the number 1 in their division. And considering that Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens are in that division, along with the Cincinnati Bengals, and also that Cleveland doesn't have their starting quarterback and they're playing Jacoby Brissett, and they're still doing this well, is kind of alarming, actually. So let's say hypothetically that Cleveland does make it into, week 7 with only a 4-2 record. That's scary, especially the fact that you're going to be getting Deshaun Watson back. I wouldn't want that. Cleveland, unfortunately, well, not real unfortunate for me, but they're the number 1 in rushing yards right now with Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So that is a very, very scary, very, very scary combo. That's also going to be the key, though, to the Atlanta Falcons' success. So they're going to have to stop the rushing game. So that's really going to come down to defense for sure. I wouldn't say necessarily that the Browns have the strongest wide receiving core. They have picked up Amari Cooper, so there is something to be said about that, considering how well he did with Dallas. But besides Amari Cooper and Donovan Peoples-Jones, and the fact that Njoku, the tight end for the Browns, is balling out, this is a very winnable game for the Atlanta Falcons, I do think. I think the fact that the Falcons are going into the week also with a W, I think that's going to give them a little bit more of an oomph. And especially watching tape too to see kind of what the Cleveland Browns have done in the past games. It's going to be stopping as much as possible the rushing game. So I would definitely expect to see, a lot of a lot of throwing and a lot of passing with the Atlanta Falcons. So yeah, the Browns are number 1 in rushing. Falcons are even with passing, but the Falcons are a little bit ahead. I think they're 1 rank ahead in passing yards. Browns are number 7 in total touchdowns, and Falcons are number 10. So again, very, very close in terms of ranks. Can they beat the Browns? Yes, they definitely can. Some people are going to have to show up. Kyle Pitts is going to have to continue to play well. As much as everybody has this high expectation, as much as I do too, he's not a bad tight end. It's just I think people had a little bit too high of expectations for him, as did I, and I still think he could produce touchdowns and stuff. But the one criticism he had last season is that he didn't block enough, right? So he is doing that now. He is fitting into his role. Hopefully that is to come a little bit more, but yeah, that's the short of it. So we need to stop the running game. We need to continue on with our defense getting better, and no fumbles. That's got to be put to rest. Unfortunately, that is something that Marcus Mariota has been doing quite a bit of. So I'm hoping we see a little bit less of that, because
join
that's
the
really
team.
Yeah, I know it's bad. It really is bad. But as much as I think Vegas right now has it as a 3.5-point favorite for the Cleveland Browns, which is very possible. But I'm thinking that the Falcons are going to upset this game, and I think they're going to go in and they're going to go 2-2 at the end of this week. It's going to be a very close game, but I also think it's going to be a high-scoring game. I'm going 34-30 for the Falcons.
Oh, wow. Awesome.
Yeah.
I would have to say, based off of the analysis, I'm gonna be calling it for 2014.
Okay.
And that is going to be going to the Browns.
It could. You know what? I will say I do like this matchup for multiple reasons. I think something that many people maybe don't know is that's my actual second team. Is minus the Falcons. I love the Cleveland Browns, and I love what they've done. So to see them succeed and go far, I would love that. I do think it's going to be a close game. I really do. Maybe the Falcons do their usual tradition and they blow it up in the fourth, but yeah, I don't really know. We'll have to wait and see, but let's hope.
I'm still rooting for you.
Yeah, let's hope our teams pull it out. But
yeah, let's say we're wrong.
Yeah, I would love to. So, yeah, I think just before we end up going, we have one quick little video to show you guys, and here we go. That's it, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And as you can see below in the footer there, Let's Talk Football NFC South Takeover will officially be on Tuesday nights at 7:30 Eastern Time. For all the Canadians that are watching, that's 5:30 our time, so don't worry. And yeah, we'll be bringing you with all the highlights, the honest truth, the honest opinion, and as well, if there's any key things that we want to point out in the NFL. Yeah, that's basically it. So, Nichole, thanks for having us on. Thanks for being on. And for everybody, go give a like, share to Let's Talk Football, and let's build a bigger community. Any last words, Nichole?
Shout out to the community. You guys are great. I'm loving these shows. You guys got to check them out. I'm learning so much. Yeah, that's all.
Okay. Bye.
Bye.